All right, today we're going to be going over a new topic on Medical Monday, and it's covering stress.
I'm really worried about today.
Don't work yourself up, but stress is very important in our healthcare and how our bodies react. And it's very complicated at times because of the amount of different ways we have stress. Now, Dr. Gabby, I know you've got a wonderful, easy way to break down what stress is.
Yes. I like to call it the 3 T's, and we're not talking about sweet tea, unsweet tea, and iced tea. What we are talking about, although the iced tea is kind of the same thing, but that's all right. Maybe I'm talking about this.
There's no such thing as unsweet tea.
But you are correct, because it's just tea.
It's either tea or sweet tea, but that's a debate that we don't want to stress over.
No, I'm not stressing. But the 3 T's, we're talking about toxins, we're talking about traumas, and we're talking about thoughts. And those are the 3 stressors that I like to describe it as a trifecta. When one of those is actually affected in a significant manner, it'll throw off the other ones. And so what happens is the 3 T's, sorry, I was trying to use my pointer finger here. We have the trauma, the toxins, and thoughts. Those are types of stress. Those stresses cause issues and different behaviors, which then cause disease, arthritic change, depression. I mean, we're going to go into more detail, but that's what happens. Stressors cause disease.
But beyond that, of course, we always have the textbook version, the actual definition of it. And when we look at it, it is actually a noun, and it's also a verb.
Correct.
So from that, we have different actions. Either we are causing or other actions are being caused on us. That's why it's a noun and a verb from there.
Correct. That's exactly what it is. It just breaks it down. It's a very simple definition about it either happening to you or you are doing it. And it literally covers all of those aspects of, is it a thought? Is it a trauma? Or is it a toxin?
Let's get into the first one.
Yes.
Trauma. Trauma can be caused by multiple things. We think about like a traumatic accident, whether it's a car accident, falling downstairs, anything of that nature. Of course.
Or even athletics, foosball.
Not foosball.
Yeah,
this is
foosball.
Texas. We play football.
Oh.
But we also have many other sports that put pressure on the body that can cause stress.
Yes.
Stress on soft tissues. It causes inflammation. They cause dis-ease in reference to how your body is going to react to that trauma.
And typically this results in arthritic or degenerative type changes as we age. The physical stressors do eventually cause those type of changes. And it takes time sometimes for those specifically
Your body's very adaptive.
Yes.
And it can oftentimes carry the weight of all of these 3 T's that Dr. Gabby is going to go over for many, many years before they catch up to us.
Yes.
Oftentimes you'll hear patients, well, yeah, it's just because I'm getting older, or, oh, it's just my old age. No, it's because of the stress you put on your body, and now it's catching up to you to a point your body can't overcome it and still function. So
Correct.
That's where it comes to dis-ease.
Yes. And what can happen is when we have these physical limitations due to a physical trauma, we eventually get limitations in our mindset, and we have emotional stress because we emotionally feel we can't do things. There's different aspects of emotional stress that can happen. It can be due to different types of, thought processes. This can be a type of depression. You can even have environmental stressors in regards to abuse or, work. If you have
anxiety,
a high stress,
you're at work, what projects do, who your coworkers are counting on you, emotional stress, what family members are counting on you to go to work, be productive, do the things that you need to do, or just put on a presentation to help educate people can be stressful.
Yes.
And at times, your body responds just as much as physical stress. Your body responds through inflammation. Emotional stress is no different. When you have emotional stress, your body goes into an inflammatory state. And this is not just, if you have a trauma to your knee, it's kind of localized. Emotional stress runs throughout your entire body.
Yeah.
And that's what's very difficult as far as how it affects you, can be very, very problematic throughout many other health conditions of hypertension, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. It's kind of how your body responds to this emotional stress.
And it's funny that you're talking about that because everything you just listed when we talked about high blood pressure, when we talked about increased stress and the inflammation in our body, that actually changes our hormones, which is a chemical stressor. And that's a toxin. These are our own natural hormones, but guess what happens? When we push that gas pedal and our stress hormones skyrocket, what do we do? What do we do? Well, what happens is it puts everything on overdrive. And so we end up with a chemical imbalance or a toxic environment because our body is not designed to actually handle that amount for that extended period of time. So that's when we actually end up with a lot of type of chronic diseases, things like that. But still, when we talk about chemical stressors, what different types are out there?
Originally, our chemical stressors were good.
Yeah.
Back in the caveman times, there was danger, so our endorphins, everything went through the roof. We were ready to flight or fight. But now, because of the environment that we're in and the way we put stress upon ourselves, whether we're eating or the emotional stress, our body's in a constant state, and it's just not designed to be that way for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, and then we are not actually supporting ourselves properly when we talk about what we're eating. Are you eating fast food every day for every meal? Did you eat a cupcake for breakfast?
No, I did not eat a cupcake for breakfast.
I say that because we've had a couple of birthdays come through our house, so we've had leftover desserts.
Are you the guilty?
I did have a bite of a cupcake for breakfast the other day, but it was not my entire breakfast, and I haven't done it every day.
Is
so
that
that's
one of the skeletons looking at you?
He probably makes. I'm so nervous with him staring at me, even though he doesn't have eyeballs. But we talked about hormones being a chemical stressor. We talked about food. What products are you using on a regular basis? Do you have the most chemically based, high fume type hair products regarding hairspray? Can you smell it the rest of the day? If you're not using clean products, then that can be a chemical stressor. Our skin here, our skin on our hands, anywhere, our skin is our largest organ. So if you're putting a lot of chemical stressors with the products you're using, with lotions and things, that's another stressor the body has to deal with. And then also your environment. What air are you breathing? If you work in certain parts of just in the Houston area, there are a lot of refineries that exist, and so the air quality is not always the best. And so these are all chemical factors that can affect how your body functions and increase the stress. And hopefully with going through and breaking down the chemical stressors, the emotional stressors, and the physical stressors, you all can realize how if one falls out, it literally trickle effects into the others. Right? Very much so.
So how do they affect you, though? So what we're eating, what does that mean to our bodies, and how does it actually affect our health overall?
Yeah. So our food is our fuel. If you have a gas car, you're not going to go to the diesel pump and fill her up, right? Because your car's not going to go very far with diesel. It's going to get very upset, make some funny noises, probably shake quite a bit, and then putz.
Yeah.
Not going.
And that occurs because of our gut-brain barrier.
Exactly.
So
we are not really properly fueling our bodies. We're not taking care of ourselves.
No.
And that's in any aspect. If you have an old injury that's causing aches and pains, that's your body communicating through stress hormones, through a chemical imbalance, to say, hey, there's a problem here, there's pain, it's not working properly, let's take care of it, let's strengthen it. So there's a lot of different aspects.
This is an easy picture of, it just says take care of yourself. Well, what does that mean? Taking care of yourself is very simple as far as Dr. Gabby had the 3 T's, your toxins, your thoughts, and how to get rid of those is just like this plant here. They're watering themselves, they're taking care of themselves, but what you notice is that there's no weeds in there.
There's no weeds.
There's nothing to get in the way. There's nothing that's going to hinder their growth or take away from their ability to be what they are. So make sure if you have any of those traumas, toxins, or thoughts, clean those out of your garden, clean those out of your life, to where that you can then take care of yourself and grow very healthy.
Yes.
That's what it's about, is creating a healthy environment for you to grow into.
Yep. And it just takes one step. It just takes one step to realize, is it a specific trauma? Where can you start to help address to get over that trauma? Is it more of a lifestyle type modification that needs to happen? Are we overeating? That's one of my big struggles. You even make fun of me for it because you've opened up a... I just sit there and just keep eating. It doesn't matter if I'm full. It's still open, and I'm going to eat till it's gone because then there's nothing else to do. And so I'm very open about that. Do we just need to be more physical? Because sometimes aches and pains come from strength. Everything we do here involves rehab. And so it's important to strengthen sometimes when we talk about physical trauma. So where are you going to first start to be able to best engage with that? And one of the best places, in my opinion, to start is in your gut.
Yeah.
Your gut is where your immune system's at. Your gut, it helps with hormone production. Your gut is where your fuel comes from. And if you have a high inflammatory lifestyle in regards to what you're eating, what you're around, lack of activity because of pain, guess where all those pain markers come from? They're coming from your body communicating that there's a problem. And the best way to address that is actually through your gut, to reduce the inflammation we're putting in our bodies, to reduce the amount of work our body has to do to just function. It should be very efficient. It should be very easy.
The best efficient functioning system is one that's not being given bad things. Dr. Gabby talked about the car. If you just don't put diesel in it, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Same thing here. If you just don't put those bad toxins and chemicals in your gut, then your brain will be fine. It won't. Your body won't have to fight to get rid of all these chemicals. It won't have to have a massive response to calm down the inflammation. Those functions just don't occur because you're not putting the bad things into the system.
Yeah, the bad things in the system. That's what we want to avoid, especially when we have a lot of those 3 T's: toxins, thoughts, and traumas.
Yeah.
So that gut-brain connection is super crazy important because it helps to control the hormones, it helps you recover more efficiently, and when we're not in chronic pain due to different aspects, it actually helps to, really put you in a good mindset, get you ready to just enjoy the day and go do what you need to do. So, yeah.
Very, very important topic. It's
Yes.
just taking care of yourself. But knowing the things that are injuring you is part of the battle.
Yeah.
So we want to help identify some of those things, but then also tie that together to where you can see how it's going to affect you. Why it's very, very important to go ahead and just cut those things out
Yeah.
of your
Cut them out.
out of your garden. Just pull those weeds, and then you can flourish, and you'll do
Yeah.
just fine.
Hopefully you're a little less stressed today after this wonderful presentation on stress and you have some information. If you need more, we actually have a private Facebook group for everyone to support each other. We have weekly drop-in videos. We've got recipes that are low inflammatory. Oh my
People
gosh,
ask questions back and forth
Oh,
to help
yeah.
get answers about different products,
Mhm.
different utilization of other healthcare tips and tricks.
And then also information on, you just said that, I'm sorry. I was listening. I just had my own agenda of what I was going to say.
That anxiety's getting to you.
I know. I always get so nervous.
No,
when you have
no.
such a great co-host, you've
There's
got
a
to
lot.
make sure.
There's a lot to live up to this guy. But we hope you learned a little bit about stress. Remember the big 3s that Dr. Gabby talked about, and then also just cutting those out one by one. Everything's a step by step. It doesn't have to be done all at once. It doesn't have to be some magic shift because then it's too difficult to do. Just start with one thing at a time. Work through it and let us know if you need any other assistance.
All right, and just do what scissors do.
Just cut it out.
Just cut it out. And until next week,
See you.
see you then.